This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody, and welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but is not limited to, my boy Guapo. What's poppin', Guaps?
I'm going to make sure not to say any cuss words or talk about anything related to putting money on events. See if we can get this thing figured out.
I don't think betting is uncouth, especially when, you know,
we choose bad words.
We're poker players.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to bet.
Yeah.
I also do curse a little bit.
We're also allowed to curse. It's the first 30 seconds, which is partly... All right, so there's two reasons for the 5-minute countdown. Number one, you don't curse during it. Because it just goes... Do-do-do-do-do.
Well, that's depending if Guapo leaves our mics on or not.
This is true.
All right, and then number two, it's so we can get the shots correct and all the other things that we scramble to do. On top of that, we also have the 15-second intro video or whatever.
For everyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, we're being demonetized, and
Correct.
we don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, we know why.
We want to be monetized.
I don't want to have fun staying poor anymore. Can we make money off the show,
We did
please?
look and see the things that will get you demonetized, and it basically just said Conrad.
Everything Conrad does. What are we gonna do?
He's the opposite of King Midas.
I mean, I've heard random things. People, the swearing's not a thing. I think,
Only in the first, 2 minutes.
Okay.
But we're good. We have a countdown.
Yeah.
Countdown.
Right, but...
That's you know what we're counting down to?
What's that?
A slap in the fucking face.
Yeah, Steelers 2-1, baby.
T-7 wins,
well,
baby.
there's the first F-bomb. I hope we made it.
T-7 wins, and you're going to see Connie getting slapped.
We need to get a graphic.
Maybe talking about slapping people maybe gets us demonetized as well.
No, I don't.
Can we get a graphic of your hand just slowly inching closer to him
love
after every
this
win?
idea,
Inciting violence.
I hope we do this.
I love this
I know
idea.
for sure that it's running good my way after that.
Listen.
Where are we at? We're at 3 wins.
We're
2 wins.
We're 2 wins.
Fading Conrad seems to be the high money play.
We're 2
After
wins.
next week.
We have 7 to go. We have the Texans on the road next week.
You are talking about the
We are
first
at
place
a
Steelers,
fucking
right?
survivor.
The
First place Steelers?
We are talking about the first place Steelers.
We are at a survivor. Because
You
you
can't
dog
change-
shit Jaguars pick.
You can't change the topic so fast.
I know,
Right,
he's
yeah.
trying
I
so
can do
hard.
whatever I want.
He is trying. That's why he's the hostess with the leastest.
With the mostest.
Nice.
We are talking about the AFC North leading Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's go, Yenzers. Yenzers unite in lost Pittsburgh.
We are tied with Baltimore.
That's
I heard that
Bunch of
the
fucking
game
bums.
at the Raiders game was all Steelers fans,
Bro.
really.
It was unbelievable.
It was
So
crazy.
the crazy thing about that is the Raiders never have a home game. Because every single year, the second the team schedules come out, their whole fucking fan base is like, oh, we're going to Las Vegas this year.
Well, that's partly true.
It's
partly
bullshit.
true. Yeah, I think there's certain teams that are travel better than other teams, right?
When it comes to Las Vegas,
You have to hit it. Oh, okay. Oh, you guys are just shouting over it. The entire stadium gets a "Let's Go Steelers" chant. It was honestly like walking through a bar in the middle of Pittsburgh on game day. I've never seen anything like it. This is 60,000 people, terrible towels
This
galore.
really doesn't look like a Raiders game.
That guy in front of me stood the whole time. It was very annoying.
He was not happy.
He had nothing to stand for, really.
Conrad's point is valid that people do mark the calendar to come to Las Vegas. Obviously, it's a fun trip. And I was talking to Dolak. He said when he came to the Chiefs game, it was like that as well. But he said it was 40% Chiefs fans, maybe half. That was pushing 60-40, maybe 70-30 yesterday.
It felt 75-25 to me. It really did. Now it's hard to really gauge. And
No, there was
they
a lot.
wear the thing is it's the Raiders wear black too, so it's kind of hard
The
to
easy
tell.
way-
But it was really when the terrible towels went up, and it was just literally around the entire stadium of just terrible towels.
Yeah.
It was
when it was
wild.
third down is where you could really tell. So when it was the Raiders' third down in a home game, usually the crowd goes quiet.
Right.
In order to give, I saw that little subliminal slap in there. Bob.
Sorry.
In order to give the home team the ability to get the snap count off, whatever. place was fucking rocking. But when it was the Steelers third down, you kind of heard the same thing where it was like really loud. And I was talking to LeMan, I was like, man, this is so weird because it's so loud when it's the Raiders third down. I find it hard to believe that it's equally as loud when it's the Steelers third down.
Right.
And what I realized is they were pumping in fucking crowd noise.
Definitely.
They were for sure pumping in crowd noise whenever
Definitely,
it was
because
on
you
Raiders
made
on
a really
offense.
good point, Burke. You said, like, it's so loud, and it immediately goes quiet.
Right.
Like, it was just like, that's not how crowds work. It usually just dies down. It's like
Yeah.
a fade out. This was just like loud, 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 quiet. Like,
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're amplifying the fucking crowd
Yeah.
noise whenever
Well,
the Steelers
they
are
gotta
on
do
offense.
something.
You also
Yeah.
lost your car for 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's all. That's neither here nor there in a big win like that.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
right.
4 sacks, 3 turnovers.
My God.
Steelers
Dude,
D's nasty.
it's setting up for a big game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we got
Baltimore
Baltimore
at home.
They're tied with us for the lead in the AFC North, and then we got Houston next week in Houston. Hopefully we can let Houston have their letdown since they beat the Jags.
Yeah, let's.
I didn't realize
talk
how
about that.
good CJ Stroud has been playing.
Yeah,
He is playing really well.
he's the
I didn't
highlight of their
realize.
team
He's
for
playing
sure.
well. Nico Collins is kind of coming into his own. So
Damon Pierce is just running.
Damon Pierce is Damon Pierce. So
Yeah.
Damon Pierce is really good.
We got
Yeah, look, they're not the worst team in the world. We thought we could bet against them all year. We got
They're
punished.
not who we thought they were.
Well, they still might
They're
be.
not the droids you're
I
looking
mean,
for.
it's just the Jags fucking suck at home.
So we picked them in the survivor pool, as everybody knows, as did 40% of the remaining pool. So 2,300 entries got axed yesterday
2,300 idiots.
on the Jags. To make matters worse, I had 2 other entries through which we picked the Ravens and the Chiefs. So another 10% of the pool picked the Ravens. That's another 600 people axed. We're gone. I have one remaining.
you have one team
remaining
left?
team of 5
Yes.
after 3 weeks.
Let's do it. I got a little piece.
We
Pretty
have,
brutal.
So we have one team left.
One team left, but 60% of the pool was eliminated yesterday.
Wow.
So Cowboys, Ravens, Jaguars all get upset.
The Red Wedding, huh?
Big week for Survivor teams getting axed.
Could have just picked Dolphins, man.
Should've picked
70 points.
In hindsight, should have picked the Finns.
Should have picked. Well, I mean, the reason why we didn't pick the Finns was because
We wanted to save them for week 5.
we wanted to save them. So
Yeah.
like, it's not because
But
we
that's
didn't think
dumb.
they were gonna win. Why?
Well, I mean,
It's not dumb.
it's not.
Stop it.
Well, we knew the Jags were going to be a very popular pick.
So that's
So
fine.
that's kind of but
It's still
if you
early.
have other locks,
Other locks.
like-
Take the lock.
it'd be different if we weren't ever going to use the Jags again. But like, they're a good enough team that you assume you'd find a soft spot somewhere down the line. They're going to play Houston again. You know, that type of stuff.
Like they'll play some easy win.
Yeah, they'll have some other easy cupcakes down the line. Like, you expect them to be a 10-win team this year.
Sure.
So you could potentially use them later.
But we'll,
Off of
Dolphin
like
projection
week 1,
too,
we
right?
didn't take the Ravens, for instance, right? The Ravens were the second most popular pick.
Did they win or no?
They won,
did.
but it allowed us to have the Ravens for later,
Okay.
which is nice. You know what I mean? Basically, it's like if I had 50 teams, I wouldn't have had a ton of exposure to the Jaguars.
Right.
I would probably had 20% of my picks, 30% of my picks maybe at most would have been Jags. Because there were a lot of good games yesterday.
Right.
The Dolphins were a good pick, Chiefs, Ravens.
Well, the reason why we didn't want to take Dolphins, I mean, Dolphins were expecting to be a very, very
Did they
good
win?
team. They won.
They cooked.
Dude,
Did they score 10 touchdowns?
At what point did they pull Tua?
10?
They still
in
hit.
the third quarter.
No,
They still hit
in the
my
fourth.
higher.
Was it the fourth?
It was fourth.
Yeah.
Like I saw a tweet where someone was saying that some managers of teams or like owners of teams are mad that the Dolphins put up more points after winning by so much, and it's like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
We're literally putting in third stringers and it's 56 to whatever.
I mean,
Alright,
Tua
not for
just said,
nothing.
he's like, listen, we're just playing. He's like, we just ran the ball, and
Yeah, I was gonna say-
they broke loose. What do you want them to do?
They ran the ball, and another one was like a defensive
Yeah.
stop.
Their
and fucking,
second,
pick
their
six.
second string running back had 4 touchdowns and 200 yards rushing. Like, stop somebody.
How about their third string had 67 as well?
I didn't know that.
That's
but-
fucking absurd. They had 350
Did you,
yards on the ground.
Did you see
yesterday.
the Mike McDaniel speech after the game?
No.
Oh, it was so good. It was so
I like
good.
him.
He's so based. He's
He's
just like,
the new young up and coming coach.
yeah, he's like, look, man, this is our standard. Like, yeah, enjoy it, have fun, but like, we have expectations this year, and this is what we expect from ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't like a breakout game in his mind. It's like, yeah, this is just, we showed up, we played good football. This is what we do.
There's something so great about this story. So McDaniels used to be the Broncos' ball boy.
Legend.
He was their ball boy, whatever. He tried to get an interview with them. They showered him. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to the Dolphins and absolutely torches them.
Yeah.
Maybe he was running up the score.
Russ hasn't been cooking, man. Russ.
Broncos Nation, out.
We all know why the Chiefs had such a good game. I mean, they had a very special fan in the crowd.
The crowd.
Love is in the air.
Love is in the air, and I mean,
how do you feel about it?
The Swifties are taking over football. Finally, listen. This is good for me personally because now maybe Michelle went to her first game. She was at the Steeler game for her first time. Shout out to Toby for hooking us up with the tickets, and and now Taylor is involved. She's going to games. And
look,
it's all happening, man.
I'm just excited for him to break her heart. I think we're going to get great music out of this.
I think she might break his.
It was 34-0 at halftime. I'm convinced that the only reason why the first team came back out is for Kelsey to get a touchdown.
100%.
I am absolutely convinced that it was a fucking in the locker room. Well, we got to let you get a touchdown, right?
We just wanted to get Taylor Swift on camera saying, "Let's fucking go."
Right, she was into the game.
And the second he got a touchdown,
doing chest bumps.
Yeah.
Like, she was into it, fully into it.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes' wife is just livid.
Yeah, she should be.
She can't breathe right now. Her and Mahomes' brother, like, their TikTok ratings have already gone into the tube.
Isn't Mahomes' brother absolutely, like out of his mind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're social media superstars.
Things are moving fast, right? I mean, she's already hanging out with Kelsey's mom.
Relax. All right,
just get charged?
I'm just excited for the new album, that's all.
I'm pretty sure he got charged with, like, indecent something.
I don't know. He was like a TikTok guy for a while. I know they kicked him out of the stadium because he was too much of a distraction.
I think he's a scumbag.
Relax on just, throwing the scumbag out there for everybody.
Go Google his name and see what pops up.
All right.
I did it recently.
Speaking of scumbags, our Pickem results are in. Almost. Mine is still to be determined.
What is yours?
I've Jalen Hurts over 45 yards rushing. Higher than 45 yards rushing.
I actually think they're in trouble tonight. They run into the Buccaneers, and
all right, we love Jalen Hurts.
He might get 45 yards.
Eagles fly.
He might get 45 yards, but I don't know if they win tonight.
Well, I have to tell you this, Conrad. I know I give you a lot of shit, but I am completely on board for you to be a Steeler hater for the rest of the season because so far we've had the Steelers in our pick'em each of the last 3 weeks. We've also had them in our $1 million pool where we're picking against the spread each of the first 3 weeks. Now I homered it week 1, and I took them plus 2.5 versus the Niners.
Yeah,
and I got what I deserved.
Yeah, you did.
I got blown out.
Oh,
I let Conrad anti-homer them the last 2 weeks.
Not the last 2 weeks. I kind of just like talk shit on the podcast last week because I bet Najee over 50 yards last night.
Your pick for the pick'em was Najee under.
I know.
Well, that's because I'm going to talk shit.
Why are you doing the viewers dirty like that?
Yeah, they put in their hard-earned money into your pick'em.
This is way Conrad can be right either way or wrong either way.
I was so close to fucking breaking a book yesterday.
So... So Conrad went with in the Circa Millions. Conrad forced us to take the Browns +2 or -2.5.
What
we lost that one.
Job that was.
We lost that one. We went 3-1-1 that week. Thanks, Conrad. We got
how
one
this
blemish.
week?
This week we did bad again. We went 2-3.
Fuck.
I'm partly gonna blame the YouTube audience. They by an
took the
overwhelming
Jags?
majority took the Raiders.
The Raiders
-2.5.
Is that what it was?
Against the Steelers. Nice job, guys. Good job, chat. Way to anti-homer us Steelers.
Conrad probably made all day counts.
He did.
So it's not looking good for us in the Circa Millions, but there's still a lot of time left.
We need to just go 5-0 3 weeks straight.
Yeah,
that's it.
Or maybe.
In the underdog
10.
In the underdog fantasy pick'ems, Landon won. He went with.
I went with higher than 22 completions for Tua.
I think he made it.
He did because it was 21
Probably
and a
not by
half.
a lot though.
The higher was 22.
Right.
And then they pulled him. Yeah, he got 23.
He was 16 for 16 going into the halftime, and then he was taken out by.
I know my
I was gonna
Fins.
say, he's lucky he got a little bit of garbage time.
I know
in
my
third.
Fins, baby. The Fins are cooking.
Lamanna went with higher.
I went higher. Pickens yardage. I think it was 151 and a half. And
No.
Pickett.
Bro,
What?
this is
I'm sorry, 51
Listen,
and a
if
half.
Pickens had 151 yards, Conrad would be rich right now.
50 and a half.
And look
51
at
and a
him.
half. I took the higher, and he got 75 yards, so he smashed that one.
I was going to take the higher on Najee 51 and a half. However, my counterpart
Friend over
here,
there.
he decided to take. What did you take, Conrad? Remind me.
In my sports bet or what? Talking shit here.
We're not talking about your sports
I
bet.
took the under here, and I took
You
the
took
over.
the lower
My
on
bad.
51 and a half.
It matters where we're talking about. It's 48 and a half, by the way.
No, it was 51
It's
and a half.
51 and a half.
But that's adorable.
Oh, I had it at 48 and a half.
What did you go with there, Guapo? Do you recall?
He went with Mike Williams.
He went under, right?
He went lower.
Lower.
I went
Than,
under.
I'm sorry, he
on
went
Mr.
lower
Williams.
Mike Williams.
so
And I've
lower
been-
on Mike Williams.
Yeah,
Four and
I
a
was
half.
dabbling in. I don't know if you guys know what this is. It's called Spanish Santeria, where you put curses on people.
Right.
But mine kicked in
A little too late.
Yeah.
So Mike Williams actually had a career day before tearing his ACL.
Yes.
Good job, Guapo. You fucked my fantasy team again.
So Mahomes' brother force kissed some woman on camera or whatever.
Sure.
At some restaurant or something.
Not great.
Things I don't care about.
Wild shit.
Put that at the top of the list. And I have Jalen Hurts today higher than 45 and a half yards. So hopefully we can at least get 3 out of 5 of those correct. We'll see. Apologies to anybody who took our advice. This is not,
Define our.
well, collectively. We all made
I don't
a
know,
decision.
man. We
I
all,
gave the not
we're all
financial
adults here.
advice
We're all individuals
disclaimer.
here.
That's true. This is not financial advice.
Have my choices? I think I'm 2-0.
You
good
say
question.
that as if you don't know.
No, I don't. I don't remember.
I don't remember what
I
yours
think
was
I
last
am.
week. We're going to start from this week because
Yeah.
I think last week we picked games.
That's right.
But moving forward, we're going to do the Pickem for
Well,
Underdog.
Well, you're right. So I'm 1-0 then.
Yeah, so you're 1-0.
Starting now.
I'm 1-0.
He's 1-0.
You're 1-0.
You're soon to be
I'm
1-0.
0-0.
Potentially.
I'm 0-0, but probably going to go
Yeah.
1-0. We'll see.
And then we have the player hater. 0-1.
But and more importantly, while Conrad is losing props, we are winning Steeler games.
That's right.
And that's what's
really
most
all
important.
that matters. Yes.
I just needed 25 yards from that fucking scumbag Pickens. God, I needed 100 so bad.
Yeah, I'm sure he was really thinking about Conrad's bet when he was playing the game.
No, you know who wasn't
Yeah,
thinking about
right.
it? Fucking Josh McDaniels, because he some reason didn't go for it on 4th down and decided to kick a field goal.
That was wild.
That was absurd.
The first one, I mean, it was like 4th and 6.
I thought that was reasonable.
That one was
That was
reasonable. There was
reasonable.
still 3.5 minutes on the clock, but they kicked the field goal. There was a penalty on the Steelers. They get obviously they get a new fresh set of downs for the Raiders. They drive down, blow another minute off the clock, and they're that much closer to scoring a touchdown. Now it's like 4th and 3, and they decide to kick it again.
Do you know
which
what he
is
said?
very
Do you know what he said in the press conference? He said, well, we were down 2 possessions.
Well, yeah, they treat the 2-point conversion as 2 possessions. Honestly, I don't think it was that bad. A lot of the models came out, and it seems like it was pretty neutral either way. And he'll keep his job more often when he kicks it. So,
Man, it feels so
teach their
weird to have this in between of what the model says for just call it very clear, from a numbers perspective versus the job keeping from the antiquated traditionalist.
but that's the point, is that the numbers weren't clear here.
Well, if it's okay, so in some spots, if the edges call it X 3% higher, and you decide to traditionalist not do it because that's the way that it is, you're just cutting your nose to spite your face.
No, you're keeping the audience happy, and there are many more of them than there are people that are paying your bills.
It's a numbers game, man. You got to go.
Okay, relax there,
Is it
Solver
not?
boy. Don't be a slave to the sim. We are joined by a very special guest who kidnapped Conrad and took him to a dog rescue. I can't believe that you came home empty-handed. I'm actually shocked.
What was I going to write on the paper?
Oh my god, I don't know, but
Is that peppermint hot?
But Boski's coming in hot with a little bit of branding. Welcome to the podcast, Jeff Boski.
Hey
We
guys,
just get the green screen.
Oh, we got him.
Sorry, green screen's kind of fucked up. Could have the hippo, I don't know, but glad to be on here. Quite the honor. A lot of OGs. Shout out to Berkey, Conrad, Turtle, Landon. It's an honor.
What brings you to us? I know that you had a little bit of a venture with Jamie and Conrad at the rescue the other day.
Yeah, I went to the Henderson Animal Rescue that I've been working with for a few years now, just trying to raise awareness and funds for the organization. They're severely underfunded and overcrowded, so that's a big problem. And I just figure whatever I can do to help would be a net positive for the whole community. And I assume a lot of people don't understand that animal shelters are an option. I mean, people just think, oh, we got to go to the pet store or PetSmart or animal breeder, but you should go to the animal shelter first and go there day after day because they get new dogs in, new cats in every day. And I just think I've been promoting Adopt Don't Shop for a long time, working with the Adopt a Boxer Rescue program out of New York, but I just wanted to do something more locally. And so I figured I'd make a video with Conrad, Jamie, and Christina and put that out there, tie it with the charity event, and do some good.
Go ahead.
What is the charity event?
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask.
The charity events, it's just a $20 tournament on ACR on the 29th of this month at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. $10 goes to the prize pool, $10 goes to Henderson Animal Shelter. ACR has donated $109 tickets to everybody that makes the final table, and there's a $55 ticket if you bust me after late reg.
Sweet. So that's this Friday the 29th, right?
This Friday the 29th, 5 o'clock. It's in the main lobby. You don't have to search any filters or anything. I'm registered, so $20 per entry, and then every time you enter, that's just $10 more going to the animal shelter to help with all the costs that are associated with medical, food, and they're all volunteers. They're not making money off this. They're just trying to stay alive and find some homes for these great animals.
Sweet. I just registered.
Nice.
I'm never going to remember to play it, but I just read.
Hey, that's right. So you're donating to the animal shelter and to the community.
Wow. Look at that double whammy.
Give us a little bit of an idea of like what the overhead is to run an operation like this. If you have any guess.
You can call Scott, who's the main volunteer at Henderson Animal Shelter, but from what I gather, the state taxes are supposed to be a large percentage of the funding, but it's tons of money. I mean, the adoption costs are like $50 an animal. They're not making money off that. They just do that as like a filter to make sure it's going to a good home. It's not just like all animals are free in some sick world.
Right.
But it's just unfortunate that they're so far in debt. And that's how pretty much any animal rescue is. They're just based off of donations because it costs, maybe $1,000 just to take a dog in and take it to the vet. And they just run up vet bills until vets just stop dealing with them. That's my experience with animal rescues in the past. And if I can raise awareness and raise some funds, I think it's a great thing to help out. And it's not some shady organization where only 12% of the proceeds go to the programs. You're right. I'm going to be writing the check directly to them, and they're going to use it efficiently.
Yeah, I think it's great. How many dogs do you have now?
I had 2 boxers that passed away recently, but I still take care of my neighbors' labs who I have a connection with and walk them every day.
Oh, man. Mine are getting to the age where I have to come to grips with doomsday being looming, and I'm on the fence of, do I want to get puppies to have them like bring in the next generation, or do I want to just be able to have like all my time allocated to kind of like end of, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing with dogs. Like, I love dogs. I'll always have a dog from now until I'm gone for sure. But the 12 to 15 year life cycle is like that end stage is kind of like quite the painful experience, I think.
Yeah, I've been through that, and I'd have to say I've never cried that much in my life over a few days span. But you just got to think about the pros versus cons, all the good times you had with them compared to the few weeks or months of sadness, and it's just a net positive overall. And it's inevitable for all of us.
Yeah, man. I don't know how you can go to those rescues and not just like leave with 10 dogs.
I could definitely sell you on 3 right now: Pizzas, Thor, and Thor's sister, which started with an M. I don't know, but they were fucking awesome.
It doesn't take much. I almost had 2 huskies like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want a husky. It's the desert, man.
They would all get along perfectly too.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a beautiful.
You hear how expensive those are? All these dogs at Landon.
I understand.
You know,
It's a lot of dollars.
If I gave Michelle free reign, we would literally have like 12 dogs in our house, just all over the place.
I think
we
that's
have 2
the end
now.
game.
Two seems like a pretty comfortable number.
I think that's the end game. Get rich to have enough land to just have dogs.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Just let them run
endless
free
dogs.
and just for sure.
So what else do you got going on outside of doing good in the community and keeping the pets and shelters afloat?
just always grinding.
And the hippo, I guess.
Sometimes grind harder than others, whether it's WSOP or online on ACR. You have Depaulo on, so you know all about the 100K Triton Challenge, where 2 pros are going to Monte Carlo with 100K in buy-ins and first class everything. And just been grinding that all month, just nonstop socials and MTTs on a huge downswing. So horrible timing, but we're putting in the work, and hopefully we win at the end of the month. And maybe I'll go with Depaulo. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. I got a rough one for you. I wanted to ask you the day at the animal shelter, but we were at an animal shelter. I couldn't take the focus off the animal shelter. What was jacking off?
It's a poker hand. It's a poker hand.
It's a poker hand. Conrad.
Poker hand.
Can you please explain where that video idea came from?
Good or bad, that was my original video idea and vision of poker terms that are also sexual, which when you approach strangers, they might not understand you're talking about poker. That was the premise. Maybe it didn't come off so well. I'm not a trained actor, but I gave it my all. And, it's content for the ACR competition. There's a panel of 4 judges, one of which is Moneymaker, and it's all about if they like it. And that's 2 of the 5 categories we get judged on.
Yeah, I feel like you're playing into Moneymaker's hands there. That seems right up his humor alley.
Hopefully we'll see. It's kind of out of my hands at this point, but actually being on this podcast is my 9 of 9 content pieces. So I really appreciate you guys having me on. And if there's anything you need me to do in the future, I definitely owe you one.
Let's go, awesome. Dude. When do you find out?
3rd. That's after all the day 2s of the flighted events, and all the judging is done. And October 2nd is, I think, the last day of ACR tournaments. And then we'll see. Everybody's trying real hard, harder than they have in the past. It's been pretty easy winning the first couple ones, but definitely going for number 3.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good luck if you happen to make your way over there and have some scores. Let's get you back on here, talk about the experience. Maybe let us know what the Monte Carlo equivalent of Peppermint Hippo is.
It's a fine establishment.
I trust you to be our Zagat guide to strip clubs all over the world. So maybe we can get a segment out of that at some point.
Absolutely. Not all strip clubs are created equal. Definitely different clientele, environment, atmosphere, security. It's the little things that really add up and make the experience a pleasurable one.
I knew you were the guy for the job, Jeff. I was very sure of it. All right, let's get you out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. One more time, the name of the shelter where they can donate.
Henderson Animal Shelter on 300 Galleria Drive in Henderson, Nevada. Anybody can go there. It's free to check out the animals, and almost free to adopt them if you have a good home for them. Make a difference. Save a life today. They might just save yours.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, head over to
Jeff.
Twitter. Give Jeff a follow. That's ICUR Rook. I think I put one too many R's in there. ICUR Rook. You know what I'm trying to say. Give the man a follow. Be sure to check out the Henderson Foundation for animal rescues if you guys are looking to adopt an animal, which every day we talk about it, I'm one step closer.
And don't forget this Friday charity tournament.
That's right, ACR. $10 to the prize pool, $10 to the foundation. So thanks again, Boski. Appreciate you.
Yep, thanks.
Later.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Peace.
All right.
Do we go get some dogs or what?
we might need a pod pup.
The pod pup sounds great.
I don't know if I can.
Somebody would have to live here though. You can't.
No.
They're not like cats.
It would come to my house.
Yeah, of course.
I would just bring it here.
Just bring it here every day.
I could bring Scout.
Mm-hmm.
No, you
She's-
can't. She's just gonna bark at everybody.
Yeah.
It's not even that she would bark. She's so spastic. Like, you know, she's
You
not
need-
just
you
gonna
need a
sit
cat
in my
for her.
lap.
You need one of those dogs who just is quiet and doesn't move a lot.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where are you gonna find one of those?
There are dogs.
Well, puppies fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know, you
Exactly.
get a nice little puppy. Just becomes a lap dog.
That's what the
Yeah.
cat. That's why cats are great for the podcast.
I don't know if you watched the previous episodes, but Chauncey was not just a statue on the
Listen,
set.
Chauncey's a star. That's why, right?
Yeah,
He's the
he saw himself in the
there's
reflection,
the
and all
life
he
of
saw
the
was
party,
greatness.
and-
There were like some
right.
wholesome moments where like I'm scratching underneath his chin. He's
Look at
just
the
like
picture behind
looking up
you.
at me. Yeah, those nice little wholesome moments where like we're like framed out by him just like attacking my arm mid show, me having to like fling him off of me.
That's what the orange cat does.
Yes.
The orange cat
The
was
orange
a wild
cat does
one.
what the orange cat does.
Well, the orange cat's mama does what she does, and she shipped a tournament over somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, some fucking where.
She won a Stars event, the UKIPT London Ladies
Wow.
event,
Congrats, Marley.
and her second PokerStars spade. Congratulations to Marle Spragg, the one and only mama of Chauncey,
That's right.
shipping another Stars spade. You love to see it. Those are fun trophies to have. Some more kudos to friends of the pod. Depaulo seems to have almost shipped something. We'll give him his just dues.
Yeah,
He was just
Second-
talking
second's
about his
pretty good.
time. He was just
Silver
saying
medal.
it was just about time for him to
Podcast
win
run
some
good.
dollars.
Yeah, podcast run good. He almost won one. He got ring event number 2. No, sorry, almost his
Almost
second
his
number
second.
ring. I don't know what. There's so many ring events. Who
There's
knows?
so many ring events, so many
There's
bracelets.
167. But he got second place for $24,566. Congratulations to Depaulo on the
Job,
podcast
Brian.
run good. Unlucky for him that we've now just given Boski the podcast run good, and he's grinding on ACR. So
Yeah.
unlucky, Ryan. Sorry.
And
We
last,
wanted to get you to Monte Carlo. Sorry.
and last but not least, there was another one this morning.
Not last but not least, you're forgetting our man Toby.
Oh yeah,
Shipped the
I did
bracelet
forget
event.
about Toby.
right.
Let's go, Tobe.
Toby is
Toby
a
Lewis,
bracelet.
main event final table list,
Right.
won the $2,500 high roller bracelet event.
Golf.
Yes,
for
he did.
80,000 ish, something like that. It was
It was
$2,500
$60,000.
60,000.
60,000,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
2,500 freeze out. They're just giving these things away these days. You know.
So he's got some hardware. He's got some. I mean, he always had hardware, but like the actual bracelet.
Probably not the bracelet he was looking for.
But no, he was
You'll
probably
take
looking for
it.
a different one. But
Yeah,
you know
but-
what? I'm sure he will take it.
It is a weird
Yeah.
thing now when it comes to like the call it best players without bracelet lists, where like it's a little bit different if it's live versus online. Feels that way.
Yeah.
Is that way? Isn't that way?
I don't know. You're young, man. I don't think about that shit.
Yeah.
Bracelets are just like.
Well, Toby
it's
is
just
funny because
another event.
I don't know how. Like he might have had the same reaction if he won the main event that he had when he won this one.
Yeah.
I saw him yesterday. And I said, I found out he won the bracelet. I was like, oh, that's awesome! You won a bracelet. He's just like, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was good.
I'm sure it'd be all right if you won the main. A little different.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the money would matter more, not the bracelet.
it would.
Well, yeah. I think when it comes to the bracelet conversation, like the ring conversation, it's just kind of proof of concept that you are a pro. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I want a bracelet. But like pros will mostly win a bracelet, I guess.
It's like
Or win a ring.
it's like a when you're an actor and they say Oscar
Academy
winning
Award winner.
Academy Award winner
Golden-
so and so.
Golden
Now they
Globe.
say bracelet winner so and so.
Right, like Jeremiah's won too. He's not much of an MTT
Have
player.
that
They've been
attached to your
online.
name is I think for a poker player is
Good branding.
Yeah,
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that you
Where's
don't
your
have
bracelet,
one,
buddy?
and
What are you trying to say?
trying to say that you should maybe
You're not a professional if you don't have a bracelet? Is that what you're trying to say?
Or a ring.
You're
Conrad's
not-
got
you're
a
not
ring.
professional if you don't have a ring? That's what you're trying to say?
I got a 4-card ring.
He does.
They don't ask. They just say, "Do you have a Circa ring?" He says, "Yeah."
Hey,
True.
He's trying to get you to play a few more events this summer.
He's
This
not
next
lying.
summer.
Where's your
Hey.
ring at?
fuck you guys.
No ring. No
ring.
bracelet.
Fuck you guys.
No ring, no bracelet, no
I
money.
want
You have a
nothing.
Berkey just loves being one of the best players without a bracelet. He
not
likes
on
that
that.
title.
I promise you, I'm not on that list. Like the thing with that
You
list
used to
is
be on that list.
Yeah, because tournaments weren't really thought to be a skillful endeavor for a very long time.
But
So it's
they
just
are.
like if you're good at poker and you didn't have a bracelet yet, then you made the list.
Right.
But now, being good at poker isn't the qualifier; it's being good at tournaments. And
Right.
I'm not trying to throw shade. There's a difference here. Like tournaments are an additional layer of skill. You still have to be good at poker, but you also have to just be good at
Other
in
things.
general, and it's like I'm
The
very clearly
nuances
not.
of poker.
Yeah, I'm very clearly not good at tournaments. So like I'm not on that list.
Not good at This is such a scam. This is such a scam, Mark. You don't have to pretend you're not good at a format in tournaments.
I'm not.
I'm not going to bar you from playing them.
I'm not good at tournaments. If I were good at tournaments, I would play high rollers.
Stop doing this.
I'm not good at them. I'm good at cash. Give me
you're
my
not
cash bracelet.
you are not an elite high roller tournament player.
Okay,
But
and there are plenty of them without bracelets, so they make up the list.
I'm sure you have a win rate in the World Series every year.
but who cares?
People
Just
care.
who cares?
You're a good.
Who cares?
You're a good guy.
You're a good guy.
curmudgeon.
I have 11% ROI.
Despite your lack of bracelets, you're a good guy.
Yeah.
I have 11% ROI in MTTs during the summer. Who cares?
11%.
Who cares? I'm not playing
Yes, I
them.
didn't know your ROI in the 2K freeze out was 11%.
Yeah, 11, 20. Who gives a shit? I'm not playing
Hey
it.
man, with your super max late reg strategies, it might be 30%.
Again, who cares? I'm not playing them.
How many did you play last year?
Maybe you should play.
Not many. I think I played like 6 events.
You cashed like 5 of them.
I did. To break even, nonetheless.
That's because you played some higher stuff.
you didn't
You played
break
25K
even.
twice or once?
No, I did break even.
Twice.
You played
You
25K
broke
twice.
even?
I didn't play the 25K at all.
What?
I didn't play the 25K.
How did you break even?
You
then?
definitely tell you the 25K.
You definitely played the 25K. And
Yeah,
then
you
you
definitely
rebought
played
the
it.
25K.
Now,
No,
that was the year
before.
before, but he did fire 1 bullet into it this year. I'm almost
Oh, the
positive.
25K 6 max. I did
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I played
Hold on.
one.
You didn't rebuy?
No, I didn't play the 10K 6 max this year. Skipped it for cash.
Damn, it's like
Didn't you cash for over like 100,000?
I cashed for about 100,000.
And you put up 100,000 in buy-ins?
Yeah, pretty close.
Okay.
With online, yeah.
online.
Yeah.
Yeah, online will do it.
Forgot about online.
Online is a crazy format, man.
Mhm.
I cashed online too. I cashed the 5K.
The online structures are so insane. Like you're just playing final tables for bracelets where everyone has like 20 bigs and you're just hoping that you get chosen.
Mhm.
And like you just do enough
I will
pre-flop
say-
work and
How'd you end up yesterday?
I cashed the 1500 bracelet. Got final 2 tables and it's something deep, but I lost money.
I will say
One.
that I think I could get good at tournaments. But much like the conversation we had on Friday about where to invest time as far as like what you project, I look at the people that are the best in the world at MTTs and I wouldn't trade places.
Yeah.
Not because I don't think that they're more talented at what they do or even don't make a lot of money. I'm sure that they do, but they all just feel like such outliers. And I feel like I'm already in an outlier scenario where it's like I wouldn't want to have to try to put all my resources into a separate basket and become an outlier again.
There's a lot of studying time, a lot of strategy to, learn when to use your time banks.
Well, Excellent segue. Prior to getting to that, though, like I think that the big thing is that in MTTs, when you look at that elite tier, the next level down, in my opinion at least, isn't doing all that well financially.
As in it's like the feast or famine.
Yeah.
Like you're basically a high roller or kind of high roller adjacent, and then you're kind of mid stakes, and it's like you're trying to work to be high roller.
Like people that are probably like breaking even or losing small in high rollers that are winning elsewhere. Looking at the 10-year trajectory of their career.
That never improve, you're saying? Like kind of stay stagnant?
No, let them improve, but like let's always keep them at the break even or slightly losing in high roller tier, right? I think they'll do well, but I think it's like 100K a year type of career.
You're like 100 to 250K max.
Yeah,
type
and
shit.
it's like
you'll win a WPT here and there.
Yeah,
and final table.
and you're putting in,
hours.
You might be putting in like 7 figures worth of buy-ins a year
And
to
travel.
do so. And travel, and it's like I look at that and I just look at somebody who's grinding out 510 for 150K a year, and it's just like, come on, man. Like that is the path I would choose every day of the week.
Yeah. That's like, well, it's definitely more of the stable one, right? Like there's definitely a lot of stability in live cash. Tournaments, you
The
can
high
just rip
side's
off
also
a
just a
couple
lot
million.
higher.
The high side of cash?
Yeah, because what it takes to be an outlier isn't a baked-in skill set
No,
within the game.
It's just a network sense.
It's a tangible or an intangible skill set.
EQ.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're winning 10 big blinds per 100 at live 510, you're probably making like $25 an hour, or sorry, 25 big blinds an hour, so like $250 an hour, $200 an hour, somewhere in that neighborhood. That's a really good, stable living.
Yeah.
And you're also going to be very capable of beating 100, 200 if you ever get seats.
I'd say that's a little bit more than stable.
Yeah, fair. Well, you know what I'm saying. Like,
It's so incredibly frustrating listening to Matt talk about hourlies. Like, he was shitting on $40 or $50 an hour the other day. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, that's like $70,000 a year.
well,
That's because you got to up that ceiling, champ.
I'm not coming from the entry point, though. I'm coming from the ceiling. Like, when I'm looking at these projections, it's like you want to look at what the payoff is for all the time that you sink into something.
Where's your time going?
Right. So 10 years from now, what's the big payoff? And if the big payoff is $50 an hour, like, yeah, choose something else. Like, if you're an intelligent individual who has like a high upside, like, definitely choose something else. You know, do it part-time. Yeah, all the other reasons why. Oh, I guess let's shout out Rampage real quick. Congratulations, Ethan.
That's his name. Ethan Delona.
Ethan Delona. He's recouped some of his loan.
He got some money to loan out.
Get some of that money back, baby. One tournament at a time.
That trophy's fucking dope.
That's
That's
a
what I
boomerang.
said too. That's a
I definitely
really
want
cool
a boomerang trophy.
Yeah, that's because what goes
life.
around comes around. You know, he loses some money, wins some money.
Oh, man.
man.
Very nice, Landon.
Wow.
Faster these days.
Unbelievable.
I love you, Ethan.
Kid nails it. All right,
I love you.
Let's talk about the real reasons why I don't want to get good at tournaments.
You have to play with Ethan all day?
No. I would love to play with Ethan all day.
He's a good man.
He's very enjoyable. No, let's talk about this video that's circulating from the high roller that was just played at PokerGo. So this was the Poker Masters 25K.
Not Vogel saying tanking?
No, this was instead Foxen tanking. So here we have a huge chip discrepancy between Chidwick, who's the chip leader and has 150 big blinds. Foxen's now second in chips with just shy of 20. And Brewer and Soverel have around 10, but the big blind is about to go up. So strategically, we see Chidwick open the button. He's going to open any two. Foxen, who's second in chips and doubling up, doesn't really gain anything for him because
right. It's a big thing in ICM is like where are you going to place in relation to where you're going to finish.
Right. You're just a big distant second. So he's obviously not going to be playing very many hands from the small blind. He strategically uses his time banks to ensure that he will be the button and Soverel will be the big blind when the stakes increase. Lot of conversation coming of this on the Twitter sphere. A few clips from the thread. There's a response that says, I like Foxen, but if this is true, it's a bad look. First of all, like, if it's true, I mean,
It's obviously.
let's be very clear. He outwardly said why he was tanking. This is not
Big if
question.
true.
Right. Some will claim gamesmanship, but this was an intentional attempt to stall play. Can we get a ruling from Savage, the TD authority on such things? Foxen should have been admonished is my theory at minimum and could face a penalty.
Oh, what? There is no rule about this.
Well, there is a rule. You're allowed to use your time banks for what you want.
Exactly.
Savage says, if the time banks are in play, a player can use them when they see fit. The system isn't perfect, but it does work. The WPT has been tweaking it to be better for years, and another change is coming soon. Looking forward to whatever that change may be. Dan Zach also says, has to be okay. Otherwise, what's the point of time extensions? Which Wayne agrees. He says, as a real-time strategy player, I agree. There would be no other use for time bank chips. I mean, I wouldn't say no other use, but agreed. Matisal, though, hard disagrees. Matisal says...
Wait, tell me when I'm supposed to pretend to be shocked.
Okay, start now. Why does anyone tank? Just play your cards. Go on to the next hand. For players who are supposed to be rich playing nosebleed tournaments, why would anyone care about pay jumps? It might be allowed, but to me, it ruins the spirit of the game.
If I didn't know Mike any better, I would think this is a very clear contrarian marketing strategy.
Right. But
I know Mike.
Right. Yeah.
It's like at some point too, from the purist element of the game within the rules that are in place, you're going to want, especially if people are selling, it's not just your money.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think we're all pretty much in agreement here that this is an absolute fine use of time banks.
Yes.
Efro said, we saw Brewer do this in a 250K while announcing it. Nobody said a thing because it's totally okay and sharp.
Yeah, it is sharp. It feels, what's the word I'm looking for? It, like, what is the term for when somebody does something that is very clearly like strategically intelligent,
Sharp.
Highbrow.
but it's at your loss.
Getting
Like
fucked.
Bush League? Not Bush League.
No.
but I know what you mean, but yeah.
It feels a certain way,
Yeah,
right?
that-
Like
that
when you're the
human
guy
is
who's getting
Poor
fucked.
form, if you will.
No,
it's
not even.
It's that guy is sharp, and I'm getting fucked.
Yeah, just right. Well, because like you have no defense
It
against
feels
it.
icky.
It does feel icky because the way that this should iterate
Gets
is
the ick. You get the
Yeah.
ick factor. Oh, he uses time banks to stall.
why
Ick.
wasn't I doing?
I used to like him.
But it does kind of feel like if this is the case, then way prior to this scenario presenting itself, everybody else should be looking to strategically use their time banks
And
as
I
well.
think they are.
I don't understand why you wouldn't. It's like, I mean, it really is, and maybe this is a bad comparison, but I don't think it is. The NFL does this all the time, right? You use the clock to your advantage. When you're at the end of the game, you run the clock out so the other team can't get the ball back. It's just like, are you going to say, oh, they should run plays faster so we get a chance to get the ball back?
Here's
That's
the
messed up.
counter.
Or you save your timeouts, right? Like you save your time banks so you can manipulate the clock at the end and then get the ball back.
Well, now
So
the counter might be like, to what extent in a level do you start to slow everything
That was
down
what I was implying.
to
is like,
increase the
so
structure?
say Sam notices that at the current pace of play, he's going to be the one who gets fucked.
Yeah.
Does he randomly just drop in a time bank? You know, like 5 hands prior to this happening.
Right. Like how quickly do you slow the game down? But I
Yeah.
think that this
I
stuff
mean-
can potentially get solved with hands per level.
I mean,
We talk about that a lot. I'm not sure that
Like not the entire tournament, just
Yeah,
for
yeah.
FTs.
Yeah.
I mean, what does it matter though? Like, there's only so many time banks one has, and there's only so much
you're
you
also
can do.
giving something up, right? You're
Yeah.
giving up a chance, like time that you might need for a decision
Uh,
later.
That's a bad
That's
argu-
false though, because
Why is that false?
Because we're getting to
These
a
guys are
point
so
now where
good, man.
yeah, we're getting to a point now where the game is understood deeply enough. Like
Maybe on that level. Well, I'm talking
but that's
about
the only place it's happening. Where else do you have time banks? You don't have it at the main event.
You have it
You
like
have WPTs.
Yeah, I mean,
Venetian,
but, like-
everyday Venetian day twos.
right, but and in the future you might.
I don't know. Is that true about Venetians?
Yeah, they started doing it,
They do it at some points.
within a year ago,
Yeah.
and they do it for every day two.
Okay.
Right,
But
so it's you're seeing time banks being implemented more
Right.
often. So in the future it will be a thing.
I think there's ways to strategically use the time banks. I think the argument of people needing more time at higher stakes is a little bit tougher because people are kind of aware, especially at that level, they're like kind of aware of the bounds of their range and where they're at
Well,
with
that's what I'm
calling and
getting
all
at,
that stuff.
like-
It's not the same as equating it to lower.
right, that's what I'm saying. Like he can use those time banks strategically for that reason because he'll gain way more EV there than he will in a flip spot where he just has to roll on the river.
But the other side of the issue is that like you have other people that want to play these events that aren't the best. So
Landon brought up a good point. Obviously, we were all completely fine with Foxen doing this here. It's strategic. It makes perfect sense. Nobody's going to call question to it. We saw Dan Zach do this in the World Series, 250K final table. It just makes perfect sense, right? And the thing with Chris Brewer. But the thing with the Brewer thing is the Cabral being there was a big enough distraction that like we would have never even noticed.
He openly said it, though.
Right? Yeah, of course. But like so did Foxen.
Yeah.
However, Landon presented the alternative of what if it's Bill Klein that was under the gun, and this is who Foxen's doing it to. Now all of a sudden, being this avert, and the thing is like Bill's a sportsman. He doesn't give a shit.
Right.
So Bill's not the best example. But there's going to be wrecks in the field that are going to get that feeling that I'm talking about, and I don't have a word for it.
It's a disincentivized feeling of playing again. It's like, why do I want to play when the edges are this? I know I'm losing, and now they're taking even more from me.
Right. I don't know what the word is to describe this feeling, but it feels like you're being taken advantage of.
Right.
So whenever a recreational was under the gun and Foxen throws out 3 time banks, to where he can now look at the clock and realize like, oh, he just made it so that I'm going to be the bigger big blind when I'm already short. As a recreational, it feels unfair.
Yeah.
It's not unfair, but it creates that visceral reaction.
Well, that's kind of another decision that Foxen would have to make. Then he would have to weigh the the EV he's going to gain by stalling to pissing off a rec that might not play in the game later.
You just piss him off.
What?
You just piss him off. Because if you don't,
You can't be the hero.
One of your counterparts will. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like the environment itself is going to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like in these spots when the blinds do go up, that's such a huge amount of
I mean,
edge
if it's
given back to
such a strategic advantage and it's within the rules, then it should just be known that this is what you do. Just like this is what you do at the end of a football game. It's just known that this is what you should do, and the rec should do it too. And it's like, and I don't think it's that egregious of a thing, and I don't think it makes the game bad when you're talking about having time banks itself. Like if you have no time banks and you're just sitting there stalling until someone calls clock, I think it's a different thing. But now they've made these rules where the game, it does keep the game moving along. So and you only have a finite amount of time banks to use. Then I think that's just how the game is until
It's
they
a
change
lot of time, though.
I know, but until they
Bro,
change
it's
the
a
rules,
lot
if they
of
decide
time.
to figure out how to change the rules, then you go.
The
from
thing
there.
is like, so there's a few things. Number one, being able to utilize your time bank strategically online has created an environment that is certainly less rec friendly.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's an argument for it not to be the case any longer or not, I don't know. I don't play enough on those in those environments, but I do know that it's a hell of a lot less rec friendly. Like bubbles online are, at least on the American facing sites, are absolutely obnoxious.
It's tank fest, but you're incentivized to tank fest.
Correct. Yeah. And you get a fraction of the time of what you get live. So you get a 90-second overall time bank with 10 seconds to make a decision before it implements?
For WSOP, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
the
you get
WSOP
10
structure.
seconds. You get 10 seconds on every
I think
street.
it's 60, maybe it's 60.
It's 60-second time bank, yeah.
Okay, so 10 seconds on every street plus 60-second time bank, right? Live, you get 30 seconds
Pre.
on every decision, not pre.
Yeah, you get 30 seconds
30
pre.
seconds every decision plus 5 minutes worth of time bank.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking time.
Like I just meant in the sense 30 seconds pre, where it's not like it's faster. You get stagnant 30. It's not like you get 10 seconds.
Right, but I say every decision for a reason because it's the same as online. Like you get 10 seconds prior to action every single street.
Yeah.
Live, you get 30 seconds prior to action every single street.
Correct.
Online, you get 1 minute of time bank that you can utilize as you see fit. Live, you get 5 minutes of time bank.
Yeah, but everything goes slower live than it does online, so I think it's pretty equivalent.
Oh, why?
Because
Makes
you
it
see
worse.
way more hands online. Like everything's just faster online, and everything's slower live. So like I think it's an equivalent. Like
But
having 60 seconds of time bank online is equivalent to having 5 minutes of time bank live.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I think
the
it
only
is.
reason
What do you
things are faster online is because hands are dealt at a slightly faster speed. And then on top of that, they mitigate all the time in the decision-making process. You can only maximize if everybody took every single second.
It's equivalent to like what the levels are, right? The levels live are they're 5 times as long as
but
the
they're
levels
not.
online.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
These
The
are
levels live
These are
are
30-minute levels, Brian.
Oh, okay. Well, they're 10 minutes online.
No, a high roller is like 20.
Oh, it was a 20.
Yeah.
Like a Venom call
Venom,
it,
anything
is 20 minutes per.
WSOP
Okay, so
is 20.
well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I like they should be like in a World Series of Poker main event. They're 2 hours.
Right,
so-
and there's also no time bank.
right.
I'm just seeing it extrapolate out to where, like, let's say everybody took as much time as they possibly could until someone actually started clocking them.
Correct.
And now it's just a terrible playing experience for everybody involved. Where it's like, I came here to play cards, and now I'm basically getting paid to not play. The tournament model is kind of that way, where some of the highest highest EV options you can make without even knowing any strategy is just waiting.
Right. Well, I think that's the thing. Like before, 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, everybody, like nobody real understood how disincentivized you are to play.
Yeah, they want to play the game.
Slow. Right. They want to play the game. And so now everybody understands that not playing hands equals more EV. So that's what the game is now.
There's a bit of a misunderstanding there. I was talking to Hunt about this morning, and I think that this is something that needs to be clarified. The only reason playing fewer hands is heavily incentivized in accordance to making money is because there's an imbalance where other people are playing hands. So if everything converged onto 0 and everybody stopped playing, nobody increases their win rate.
Right.
The best strategy will still overcome.
No, that is
right?
true. Right.
The only reason that it functionally earns you money is because you're stealing from somebody else who's not doing it.
Right.
The way that like ICM works in a nutshell is chips won are not the same as chips lost.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't like the how you phrase that. Like you're stealing from someone who's not doing it. Because if you're not doing if you
it's icky, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because if I'm not doing it, then someone's
correct.
Yeah, it's like you have to do it because other people are doing it, so that it goes
it's
around.
It's a prisoner's
and
dilemma,
right?
I mean, steal or split.
It's a prisoner's dilemma in a zero-sum game, and you expect everyone to just be happy.
Well, there are two equilibriums in prisoner's dilemma. People don't really talk about this much because they only look at the one that's unexploitable, which is that everybody steals or defects.
Right.
Right. But if everybody cooperates, it's actually a higher equilibrium. Everybody does better on average, right? The problem is that it's exploitable because all it takes is one person not cooperating for them to increase their EV.
If we all know,
and that's what happens with stalling,
right?
Right. The one person defects. He now has increased his EV
and
greater than the field.
And the more actors you have, the more likely there is going to be someone
a defector. Sure.
Bingo.
So I think the issue that we're coming to grips with whenever we see like this put on a big stage for display is that we have two current problems that exist that are iterations of each other. So the stalling problem is the core issue that needs to be addressed. We've attempted to address it with shot clocks, which don't even exist in all formats of tournament poker, right? So now we as like the public who's watching tournaments play out have a huge problem with stalling. I mean, I went ape shit about stalling this summer. It was one of the most egregious things I've ever seen in my life. Like, people taking many, many minutes off the clock in a 45-minute format. Yeah. That's obviously the core issue that's huge. But then on top of that, the shot clock fix is flawed. And I don't mean flawed in the sense that it doesn't have purpose. It obviously decreases stalling to a degree, which is great. However, it can be gamified. Or not gamified. You can game the system, right? And by being able to game the system, you're still able to create a prisoner's dilemma. It's just a little bit less impactful and a lot more obvious to replicate, I guess.
I mean, cue the real life example of when you played the main and Keating got everybody to stall.
Yeah, that was him getting everyone to cooperate.
Yeah.
And honestly, the irony
against you.
Well, the irony in that one, the irony in that one is that me defecting didn't help. Like me playing fast doesn't help because
it doesn't help to the degree you want.
Well, it just doesn't help at all. It just doesn't help at all because I don't.
It helps you. The faster you play, but even though it's still going to take forever.
It doesn't because I run into a roadblock 8 times throughout, so it doesn't matter how fast I take action. It's mere seconds.
Well, you can't give yourself a 9th roadblock.
I mean, I should.
Why?
Because I would do better.
Why?
I would just make more money.
Why?
I'm never at risk. If none of us played any hands at that table, we all cash.
You're never at risk, but you're also incentivized to play more hands because you have bubble pressure.
Right, but there's no pressure if no one's playing any hands. If we're only going to play a total of 10 hands, where everybody else is going to play hundreds, I don't get to exert any pressure.
You do for those 10 hands.
But not really. Right? Because those 10 hands are going to take 2.5 hours. So it's one of those situations where like it looks like they're all cooperating, which they are, but collectively they're all defecting. And I'm the one who's attempting cooperation and just getting fucked.
Yeah, because you're incentivized to play more.
Right.
Like the game, especially for bubbles, is a completely different part of poker strategy where chips are worth way more in your stack than they are out.
This is the thing that I think needs to be analyzed the most from TDs.
Sure, go.
To the point of what you're saying. Because there are conflicting interests when you reach the bubble.
There's 8 people against 1.
Essentially.
A lot of times,
well, it's 8 versus 1 because one person has a lot of chips most of the time. Right. And everyone else is like, whoa, like we don't want to play hands because he can fuck us up.
Right. So within the structure of this, and I haven't put much thought into this to think of a creative solution, but I think that it is identifying the obvious problem where there are 2 strategic incentives that disalign
Yeah.
and collide against one another, that's good for the game in the sense that it should create chaos, right? Which is what you ultimately want as a game operator. However, it's very poor for the game when the counter strategy is to
do nothing.
It's to cooperate and essentially collude.
It is collusion.
Right, yeah. So it's soft collusion in a very unspoken way, just like checking down with no side pot, with a dry side pot is kind of soft collusion. So I don't know what we can do within the framework of the structure to alter this, to basically take away the cooperative efforts of the field to play fewer hands.
If you could, I don't know, if you could ever completely eliminate the clock, but the ways you could, if you could try to somehow, if you do round for rounds, right? Where so say you play 10 plays each, you do 9 hands or whatever.
They do that at the end of the night, right?
Right.
They say 5 hands.
They said 5 hands, but say it's on the bubble, and then we're saying we're going to play 9 hands and then stop, and then play 9 hands and stop, and then if you bust on, if 2 people bust on the same hand
4 or whatever
on the different tables, then that's where you.
I think that's where you just honestly. I think that's where you just go with chip count.
Mm-hmm.
You could maybe.
Well, that's what I do on WSOP for bubble stuff, right? You just go chip counts. If it's stone bubble and the person with less chips goes all in and loses versus someone that has more chips.
Only at the same table.
That I mean for online.
Yeah, only same table.
Same table.
Yeah.
And they
if 2 people bust at the same time, they chop.
Yeah, they chop.
Oh, interesting.
That's always.
I've just never seen it. Okay, interesting. Because what you can do if you do it by chip counts is that's just kind of the nature of the game, right? You shouldn't.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work live because you just don't have good accurate chip counts. You don't have a log.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's not digitized.
It's not digitized, but you can just
is digitized even a word? It's not
it
digital.
Counts. It's
not
we
digital.
know what the word means.
Right. But I guess what I'm ultimately trying to say is that even though shot clocks are a nice temporary band-aid, and I think that they're a step in the right direction, and for what it's worth, I do think that what Foxen did is completely within the framework of gamesmanship and just playing the cards that you're dealt kind of thing. Yeah, I do think that there is a better evolution of this. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's creating hand-for-hand scenarios. I don't know if it's round for round. I don't know what necessary, but somebody smart or smarter than me at some point is going to come up with a creative solution where they can identify what is incentivizing the field to react in 2 separate ways, right? Bubbles are a very clear example of this, where there's a big chip discrepancy between one person and the other 8. And the other 8 are in survival mode while the 1 is in accumulation. Whenever this occurs, the ones in survival mode are trying to bleed the clock, while the one who is in accumulation is trying to take advantage of getting as many hands as possible. So
it's tough because the solution, I think the solution at final tables is definitely one that you can do, call it copy pasted throughout, where once you get to FT, there are a certain amount of hands per level, and you figure out how long does the average hand take, and you continually use that.
Well, I think you're right in the sense that we can build the model, or we can correct the model a little bit from the end game back. So it's very clear,
because that's when it's worth. That's when it's worth the most.
Correct. It's very clear that final tables could just shift to round by round.
Yeah.
Number of hands
per,
and you can still keep the shot clock.
Yeah, you can still keep the shot clock. I mean, it's not super necessary, but sure.
Well, you just have it for decisions, so decisions don't stall.
Exactly.
Shit,
so
it's
I don't
have
you
this
don't
much
have people
time.
just bleeding time. But you
bleeding
keep
time for literally no purpose.
For no reason. Right.
What, would people do that? Maybe.
I mean, you see recreationals just get put in a tough spot. They'll take 10 minutes if you give them 10 minutes.
That's true, yeah.
And people are going to be very lenient and not call clock on recs.
Yeah.
So it's you just fix it in the rules where you're going to have 2.5 minutes to make a decision.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just the end all be all. I would like to see that be the next iteration.
I think it's a good start.
Where it's okay, clearly we should stop playing timed final tables.
It seems like such a simple solution that I can't believe it hasn't been implemented yet. I mean, maybe
I think people are slow to break tradition.
Yeah, that's true. That is definitely true. I mean, I haven't thought about it long enough to think maybe there's some pitfalls along the way that I haven't covered, but I don't.
It's tough to think of what troubles they'd run into with playing hand for hand or round by round or whatever
Like,
at final table, because you have one table. It's controlled.
Right. If people make the argument that that means there's going to be stalling for the final table bubble, it's like, yeah, that's happening anyways, and then you hand for hand the final table bubble anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, you keep moving, stalling back. Welcome to what's happening in poker now.
Correct.
So you either do something about it or you let it fucking cook.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, I think we can start to correct from the end game backwards. Yeah. And then hopefully we just arrive at a creative solution where we can do it at scale. Because that's really what this is about. Like, we know what the solution is. It's definitely playing round for round.
Yeah.
Or playing X amount of hands in a level, right? But we can't scale that out to a populated field of like 50 plus people.
What you think it would just be too? It would be interesting if you did like, okay, you're gonna play this many hands in these like this level, and then like people would go on breaks at different times. Your table would just go on break once you're done with your hands.
We talked about
and then
that.
Everybody wouldn't be going on break at the exact same time, which is a good thing too.
You don't necessarily have to worry about it as much. I think it's just for the call it functional problems of bigger field tournaments. You're gonna have to lose some EV somewhere.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough workers to police everything. You know how many times you tried to call a floor at the 10K bubble for the secret bounty?
Well, it's just like,
and that's a small field.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's if you build it from the end game back, you'll see that the solutions will then also scale backwards, right? So what you'll have is you'll play round for round, maybe the final two tables, right? And then you'll play hand for hand going into the final two tables. And then beyond that, you'll have a shot clock. Yeah. Whereas instead what's happening is we have a shot clock now for the final two tables or in the money or whatever. And then outside of that, we have nothing. And people are just like egregiously abusing the clock.
Like the normal bubble strategy now, right? They say every 2 minutes equates for a hand. You have 30-minute levels at final table, 15 hands per level.
Yeah.
Just call it.
Yeah. I think that's pretty reasonable.
And then, what you do is you kind of have to try stuff out so you don't have stuff like this continually happen. Because if you don't try anything, you have what you have now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that like people should pay more attention to like what happens online. It's just like pretty clear that is already tested all of the scale, and like GG moving to a round per round final table format is just better. You know, I imagine that we're going to start to see that implemented elsewhere.
I just think there's so much value for the operators to like have some sort of player connect in their ears saying, hey, this is what we think is better for the game overall.
I think they have that though. I think they have that. I think we just don't have very clean solutions. If we did, we would be in higher positions than just players. Like even all the suggestions we're making are very, very wonky. You know, they're difficult to implement. Like,
is a number of hands that difficult at FTs?
At final tables, no. But scaling everything back is very difficult. Like getting clocks implemented from hand one is tough.
Different problems have different solutions, and I think there's a different.
It's the same problem the whole way through. It's for sure the same problem.
Well, it's a difference. Well, there's a difference between controlled and uncontrolled environment. You can control one table. You can't control 1,000.
You can though, with a shot clock, right? You just can. They just choose not to invest the resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it becomes a money issue.
I mean, you know, play cash. Everybody,
that's the solution.
Play cash.
Stop playing tournaments.
We play all the hands. We move really fast.
You can make $50 an hour with
make $50 an hour.
Streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/Landon Tice. Welcome to September, 30% off.
Just come find us. All right, that's gonna do it for us today. We're gonna be back tomorrow. Hang on a second. I got a text. Let's see what time we'll be back tomorrow. Is it gonna be noon or is it gonna be 6? Let's see. Game on tomorrow.
Let's go.
We will be back tomorrow evening at 6 p.m.
Get your shot clocks out.
Be sure to head over to our OnlyFriends Twitter and answer today's prompt. That's at OnlyFriends_pod. The prompt is, what's your favorite interaction that you've had with a famous poker player? So get all your Ivy stories, your D-Neg stories, your Mouth Mattisell stories.
We're getting showered by Matt Berkey stories.
That didn't happen, Efro. Okay, enough with the fake news. Relax on that. Be sure to go answer that Twitter prompt. That's at OnlyFriends_pod. We will see you guys all tomorrow evening.
Peace.
Bye-bye.